My name is Anna Marino, and I will be reading my persuasive My name is Anna Marino, and I will be reading my persuasive essay on why churches should not be tax exempt. Comedian George Carlin stated in his book Napalm and Silly Putty, "You know what they ought to do with churches? Tax them. If holy people are so interested in politics, government, and public policy, let them pay the price of admission like everybody else." Since the very beginning of the formation of this country, the United States, our founding fathers made the separation of church and state very clear. As stated by the First Amendment of the Constitution, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion and prohibiting the exercise thereof. The Supreme Court would then use the Establishment Clause and Free Exercise Clause to create the basis for the separation of church and state. The Establishment Clause prohibits the government from ever establishing a religion, while the Free Exercise Clause protects the rights of citizens to practice their own religion however they please. This resulted in resulted in churches becoming tax exempt. For the years to come up to the present day, this logic of separation has been upheld. However, each year the government is losing billions of dollars due to this exemption, which is coming at the cost of taxpayers having to make up for the lost revenue. The reality of the situation is that this exemption should no longer and can no longer be upheld. Churches should not be tax exempt. The separation of church and state is no longer being upheld by either party. Churches are receiving special treatment from the IRS, and taxpayers are being made to support the lavish lifestyles of mega churches' pastors. The separation of church and state is no longer being sustained by either side. In the past few weeks, abortion has been a hot topic. There have been quite a few states who have passed very aggressive abortion laws, not to mention the draft which was leaked, insinuating that there could potentially be an overturn on Roe v. Wade. According to ABC News, Foster stated, "Roe's reversal makes it possible for American lawmakers to once again affirmatively protect the human right to life and to enshrine law and policy that makes abortion unthinkable for even those most vulnerable to abortion propaganda." Many religions believe that the fetus is alive the moment it is conceived, therefore having an abortion essentially kills an innocent life. This thinking primarily stems from religion. The issue here is that policymakers, a majority of them being men, are stripping women of their basic human rights because of their religion. If church and state are to truly be separate, then why is religion the deciding factor as to why abortion should be illegal? Regardless of what each religion states, it shouldn't determine what women can and cannot do with their bodies. If churches truly want to imply their belief on such political topics, then there is no need for the separation of church and state. Churches are tax exempt, as allowing the government to tax them would destroy the freedom of people to exercise their religion. However, what if the church is destroying someone's ability to exercise their free rights? If religious beliefs are to overrule over the Constitution, then churches must start getting taxed. While it's true that faith groups can have a positive impact on their communities, it does not mean the government should provide special treatment. The IRS is the one who ultimately makes the decision as to whether a group is considered religious or not. Once it grants a church its protected status, it is almost impossible for them to revoke it. This means that even if a church is plagued with multiple lawsuits and accusations, it would still have the ability to remain standing due to their tax-exempt status granted by the IRS. Also, the way in which the IRS goes about granting churches tax exemption has essentially become inherently biased. The Church of Scientology is a perfect example of this special treatment. According to Pitt News, the IRS, while reviewing the church's status in the early 90s, was inundated with lawsuits from the church concerning their tax status. In exchange for dropping the suits, the IRS granted them protected status in 1993. Since then, this church has become involved in multiple lawsuits and has had quite a lot of documentaries made about the horrors that actually occur inside it. However, with its tax-exempt status, it has been able to collect large sums of money to ultimately dispute their lawsuits and quiet the victims who have spoken out. Churches are granted the privilege to be tax-exempt as they make no profit. However, according to Pitt News, the Church of Scientology uses lavish trapping to keep its high-profile members such as Tom Cruise and John Travolta comfortable. They are known for creating special classes, which each member is required to partake in and which come at a very hefty price. Since they are not required to say what they do with this income, it is impossible to track what truly happens with it. However, this begs the question if churches such as these should continue to bask in the privilege of remaining tax exempt and protected by the IRS. Many pastors profit off the tax-free dollars their mega churches accumulate to support the extravagant lifestyles which come at the expense of taxpayers. These types of events are more common than people may think, and multiple pastors have found themselves in scandals. According to USA Today, televangelist Jim Baker was sentenced to 5 years in prison in 1989 on 24 counts of fraud and conspiracy after misappropriating funds from his followers for his own use. On a more recent account, Baker has attempted to sell his properties in his Morningside Christian-themed development. Due to the fact that these megachurches are tax exempt, they are able to accumulate hefty amounts of tax-free dollars, and because there is no need for them to report it back to the IRS, they are free to use this money however they please. Taxpayers are the ones who end up receiving the short end of the stick, as it's their money that is essentially funding these pastors' lavish lifestyles. They're being forced to support a religion they might not even associate with, only for the leader of that church to misspend their money. Stricter and harsher regulations need to be placed upon these churches, and a simple tax on them would eliminate these problems altogether. Churches can no longer remain tax exempt. Allowing them to continue basking in this privilege is no longer justified when neither the church or the state is upholding it, allowing religion to rule over the Constitution. The IRS provides special treatment to them, and taxpayers are being forced to fund the leisure lifestyles of fraudulent pastors. If churches wish to dabble into politics and stab the back of their followers as they misspend the money they receive from them through lies, then they need to start getting taxed. Next time you walk into your place of worship, ask yourself, do they really deserve to remain untaxed?